both have goatees. They're a little white around the, the goatees. And we're both handsome. And so, yes, there's a lot of similarities. And I tell you what, it's really nice to have Dr. Rob here because a lot of the stuff that we do in the trenches, you guys have no freaking idea. And I don't mean that to be, it's just you don't know. We have to battle the political aspect. We have to battle the faculties. We have to battle the employees. We have to battle the what people think that we should do. We have 1,000 comments of what people tell us that we should be doing, but they have no idea of what it is that we do every single day. And so it's kind of nice to be able to catch up with Dr. Rob when we're out on the road, and I appreciate his efforts, and I appreciate the things that he's doing with his team at Life University. So, yeah. So I've been married for 39 years to my beautiful wife, Debbie. So this is what 39 years of marriage looks like. I kind of think I look the same. I don't know if you guys agree. This kind of looks like Cheech and Chong guy, the guy on the right over here, for those of you older guys of people. But that's what 39 years of marriage looks like. And I tell you what, if you are successful in whatever you do, I guarantee you'll become more successful if you have somebody by your side that's supporting you on a day-to-day basis, that's telling you the truth that you don't want to hear when you screw up, and that's always there to give you advice whether you want to hear it or not. And so those of you that are single, start scoping out the room and see if somebody here might jive with you. And if not, come and visit some of the schools because you want to marry somebody that understands what you do with your level of passion for the things that you do. So I want to share a quick little story. Some of you people, I don't think that I've ever had the opportunity to speak with you guys. So I'm a very aggressive leader. Dr. Dean. There you go, yeah. He's like, what? So I'm an aggressive leader. So I lead the way that I live. And so as an aggressive leader, I had this 27-year-old daughter that's beautiful, speaks 2 languages, green eyes, blue eyes, beautiful features. She took most of her mom's Italian, features with a little bit of the Puerto Rican features. Absolutely gorgeous. And she's having this horrible time dating guys. Anybody had that experience before? And so I take the leadership role. I said, well, I'm going to take care of this. And so I was speaking at a conference, and I go to the conference, and I put a picture of her. And I go, this is my daughter, Michelle. And look how beautiful she is. She's 27 years old. She cooks, she cleans. She knows how to cook Italian. Wait. I was leading somewhere. Wait a second. She cooks, she cleans. She's an incredible person. She's had some really bad relationships. So if anybody in this room that's single may think that this is somebody you want to talk to, let me know and I'll set it up. So at the end of the conference, this guy comes up to me and he goes, yeah, I'm Justin, and I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm interested. And so I go, oh shit, what am I going to do that? She doesn't know that I'm doing this, right? My wife is she wants to kill me because I'm crazy. And so long story short, we set up a date. They both show up at the date, and I said to my daughter, listen, if you don't like the guy, that's okay. First of all, Justin is 6'7". He's German. He's white as a piece of paper, He's got no rhythm whatsoever. So I figured, okay, they meet. They fall in love. It's this great story, and I want to show you proof of this. And so I took leadership, right? And I figured this is what I'm going to do, right? My son, he started to date. So we go to a Christian church, and we go to a church, and he falls in love with the pastor's daughter. So, of course, he's like, well, I don't know. It's a pastor's. I said, listen, John. So I took control, and I told him what to do and how to do. Anyhow, this is the result of being a leader. And being aggressive in leadership. This is Justin. Every time we take a picture, I have to stand on a chair, because like I said, he's 6'7". My beautiful daughter, Michelle, my 2 grandbabies, and then on the side, my son, John, and his wife, Bailey, and my 3 other grandbabies. And if you look, there's a common denominator. They all have blue eyes and they're white, except for the Puerto Rican one of the family. So I'm very proud of my eldest one, Esri, because she got that Puerto Rican flavor. So we talked about, we hear this saying here, life is full of it. Life is full of love. Thank you. I was going to say shit, but love, right? Life is full of all these different things. And so when you think about it, what is life really full of? And whatever it is that you're full of, how does that affect the way that you live your life? And so I want to share, and I think Barbara mentioned this, the human brain or human body processes 35,000 decisions a day. 35,000. Thank God for your reticular activating system in your brain that filters out a lot of the minutia of these 35,000 decisions that you have to make a day. So therefore, you want to choose wisely. Out of those 35,000 decisions a day, 200 of them have to do with food. So all the Italians and the Latinos in the house, you know what I'm talking about. A little bit of mofongo with some shrimp, a little bit of paella, a little bit of chuleta cancan. By the way, if you've been to Puerto Rico and you don't order chuleta cancan, you got a problem. This is a 2-pound pork chop. I'll tell you, right, Dr. Dooley? So 200 of those decisions that we have and we process have to do with food. 27 of those decisions have to do with significance, has to do with purpose, has to do with passion, has to do with the things that really, really allows us to be who we are, who God has created us to be, and be able to move in that direction. And so out of the 35,000 decisions that we make, 27 of them are really, really important. So how many of you are stuck in that 35,000 decisions a day, not realizing that you can simplify it and go down to the 27 that are the most important and start changing your life like Barbara was speaking and some of the other speakers, that we can really make the right choices for ourselves, for our families, and obviously for the people that we get the privilege to serve on a day-to-day basis and for the communities that we take care of. But out of those decisions, some of them are good choices and some of them are bad choices. What do you think is more prevalent? Let me show you. That's a bad choice. This is at the fraternity at Spartanburg and Sherman. I don't know. I kind of snuck in that weekend. But the guy thought that if you put 3 mattresses or 4 mattresses, it was going to be better. Bad choice, right? This is a bad choice. It's a bad haircut. So if anybody in the room has a haircut like this, I'm sorry, but that's a bad choice. This is a real bad choice. That kid loves pork, I'm telling you. It's This is a real bad choice. I tried this with my wife when we first got, well, no, that's not true. It's hard to get out. You need a lot of soap. This is definitely a bad choice. No regrets whatsoever. We just want to live life with no regrets. Can you crank? I don't know if we can get some volume. This is a bad choice.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I think I'm worried about the shoes, actually.
Take your shoes. They're like really
Or loose shoes. All right, guys, here we go. In 5, 4, 3,
No.
2, 1. And that's what it sounds like. You know I play too many games.
Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Holy shit. I'm gonna throw it. Stop. Oh my God. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Wave at the camera.
Are you good? Hey, get this kick-ass view. All right.
Can you make it a little bit
No.
louder? It's kind of
Okay.
No.
Did it.
That's it?
That's it. That's the whole thing.
That was awesome.
Yeah, really?
Now you get this sweet. You good?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So this is what happens with that profession. Half of the chiropractors practice like this guy. He passed out the whole time. She was the one carrying the load, right? He was there to support her, supposedly, And he passed out like 6 times. I don't even know if he saw the ride or even, actually got a chance to see anything. So these are some really bad choices. There's another bad choice that I wanted to share with you guys.
All right, guys, heads. 3, 2, 1.
Where's it at? You better help me see this.
What fun to Maya? Where'd it go? Oh, geez, break my hand. That wig straight came off. Shit.
How was it?
My wig came off.
Yeah.
Where's my wig at?
Yeah, they went to get it. That's what I heard.
Oh, they went to go get it. Oh, thank you.
So anyhow, bad choices. I know that every single one of us, we made some bad choices. We made some bad choices in maybe some relationships, or maybe we've made some bad choices in decisions that we have made, or maybe in our practice, the way that we take care of our patients, or the way that we educate our patients. But we all make bad choices. What's funny is the daughter, you didn't hear, she was cracking up. And poor mother, she's freaking out because she doesn't have her wig. And the daughter just cracked up. We have people that crack up when we make mistakes. And they look at us like, oh, the crazy chiropractor, ah! And they make fun. But yet, this is what's interesting. If we're anchored into what we believe in, and we're anchored in the decisions that we make, and we know that we're going to make some bad choices, that's perfectly fine. But if you're conscious of what you're doing, and you seek help, and you seek, more importantly, the help, wisdom from people that have done it before you, then what happens is that these bad choices end up then being minimalized, and you end up then making better choices as time goes. So one of the things that I've learned in leadership from people much wiser than I have, for those of you that don't know my story, when I was elected to become the president of Sherman College, I was out of 20 applicants, I was the only one that really didn't have any experience running a college. I was the only one that didn't have the education level of the people that were applying for the position. And at that time, the board was looking for something different, and they decided we want to go with somebody that can actually go out there and share the message of chiropractic and be dynamic. And they just went in a different direction, which I thought was very smart, in my opinion, that they went in this direction than the other directions. But it was a situation that they decided to do something different. And you know what? It turned out to be something that was great for not only Sherman College, but for the students that attend Sherman College and for the profession at large. So now I'm in my 9th year, and in 9 years, I've learned a few things about leadership, and I want to see if I can share a few of those things with you, if it's okay. So this I read, and I know Rob is the same way. I read about a book a month. Sometimes it depends. If I have more time, I read 2. We're on flights all over the place, all over the world, so you have a lot of time to do this. But great leaders are readers. So if you want to be a good leader, you better start reading. And you don't have to actually physically read. You can do it on Kindle or whatever device works better for you. I'm old school. I like to hold the book. I like to open the pages. I like to feel my carry-on it's like so heavy because of the books that I carry. So I learned a couple things that I wanted to share with you guys. And one of the things that I learned about is this particular book called H3. This is the author.
Welcome to H3 Leadership. H3 Leadership provides much needed guidance on how to run the leadership race well, defining the 20 habits essential to all effective leaders. These 20 habits are not grand gestures of power, but simple practices that can easily be implemented into everyday life. Each habit falls into one of 3 categories, defined as the 3 H's of leadership. The first is humble, answering the question, who am I? The second is hungry, answering the question, where do I want to go? And the third is hustle, answering the question, how will I get there? These habits include action steps to help readers practically apply them in their everyday, normal lives. Leadership for the long haul comes from implementing regular, daily practices into your leadership journey. Habits create standard operating procedures in your life and are the fuel to help you get to the finish line. In a culture craving authenticity, my goal is to provide you with a practical leadership guide delivered in truth and transparency. So I offer my personal leadership mantra and what I deem to be the most important questions every influencer and emerging leader must ask themselves. Again, who am I? Humble. Where do I want to go? Hungry. And how will I get there? Hustle. I ask you to join me on this journey as we seek to lead well, lead now, and finish well. Let's all strive to be H3 leaders.
And so, if you don't have this book, get it. It's an incredible read. It comes from a perspective of sharing 3 essential H's that you should have as far as any type of leadership. And he talks about the 3 H's, which is the humble, hungry, and obviously hustle. So he talks about being humble. Who are you? And this is a difficult question to answer because who you are and who people perceive you to be sometimes is very different. And so as a leader, you need to identify yourself, that you are this transparent leader. What people hate is these leaders that say one thing, but they do something completely different. That when they're in the school, running a school, they're saying one thing, but when they're with their families, they're totally different. When with their friends, they're totally different. They're incongruent in their message on who they are. The best leaders are congruent because they understand their weaknesses, and they understand that to be a great leader, I have to be who I am. In 9 years of being the president of Sherman College, if any of you in this room knew me before, I'm the same person. Matter of fact, I can't even afford socks. So my chairman of the board is here, and hopefully she would give me forget it. So we're talking about being humble. You want to share the real you with others. It's super important that people understand that. You want to have meekness. It's not about you. Most leaders, it's all about them. It's not. It's about the organization. It's about the people that you get a privilege to serve. It's about, in this particular case at Sherman, the students that we serve. In your communities is the people that you're privileged to take care of. You have to have a certain conviction. You got to always stick to your principles. If you don't stick to your principles, what happens when people come and challenge you as a leader? We get challenged every single day. Now, this is the difference. If you ask Rob about something and you challenge him, he probably may not have the answer. And you know what he tells you? I don't know. I'll get back to you. You know what other leaders do? They BS the crap out of the people because they're in a position of leadership and they think that they can BS their way, with patience or with people. And that's not the case. You need to make sure that you're humble, know who you are, make sure that it's not about you, that you have a conviction of your principles, and that you have a priority in life. Whatever that priority is for you, that's what you have to follow. For me, it's God, it's family, and it's chiropractic. And that's the way it's always been with me. And anybody that knows me knows that that's a situation. That doesn't have to be for you. But whatever your priorities are as leaders, you got to be very open about it so people understand and they know that you're a transparent leader and that you definitely are very humble to the things that you say and that you do. The other is staying hungry. A lot of chiropractors are fat dogs. You made a lot of money, you served a lot of people, now you have your nice house, now you have your nice cars, you have your nice vacations, your children went to private schools, and you are not hungry at all. Matter of fact, you're looking for associates so you can work less. Did I step on anybody's toes? Not you, but. How can we stay hungry if we just got to a certain point and we're done with it? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So you got to stay hungry and you got to keep contributing. Listen, if you don't want to practice anymore, then go to the schools and help us work with the students. Help us work with the faculty members. Go out in your communities and go elevate some younger chiropractors that are not doing well. Anybody serve in the military? I want to recognize anybody that served in the military. Would you stand up if you served in the military? So I was privileged to serve in the U.S. Navy for 6 years. I was an aircraft mechanic. And one of the things that they taught us in the military is there's a mission. And you being a leader in charge of this mission, you have to share what you know with everybody else on your team. Because if you get killed in battle, the mission stops. if you're the only one that knows what's going on. But if you teach your teammates how to become leaders, if you get killed in mission, it's sad, but the mission continues. Yet in chiropractic, we don't want to teach our youngins because they're competition. I don't want to get together with the chiropractor down the street and maybe let him know or her know that I'm struggling and maybe we can work something out, because if I do, then they see the weakness in me. And as a leader, I can't be weak. We need to stay hungry. We know that we need to have this appetite. We always have to be learning. We have to love what we do with all of our heart. If you're not into this, then retire. If you're not into this, don't bring somebody to educate your patients and just kind of give a half-assed story. Get somebody that's going to tell them the truth about what chiropractic is, and more importantly, what chiropractic is not about. But do something and stay hungry. You got to be brave. You always got to take calculated risk. Calculated risk. Most chiropractors just take risk. And then they wonder when things don't work out. Well, what happened? I took risks. I'm trying to grow. And they don't realize that are calculated risk. I don't know, Dr. Rob, if this happens to you, but I get about a dozen students a month giving me ideas of how to run the school. Right? I'm like, you're here to go to school. You're not here to run the school. We're hired to run the school. Why don't you stay in your lane and we'll stay in our lane and we do what needs to be done. But you know what it is? The students are hungry. So you can't teach your students to be a certain way and then when they act that way, get upset about it. And so I learned early on that, we teach our students to be brave, to speak out, to do these different things. So when they come back to me, I laugh because I think it's funny, but we taught them to be that way. We want them to be sufficient, independent, to go out there and make a difference. So staying hungry. And then the third is hustling. You constantly have to keep your hustle on. You just constantly have to do that. You have to do it with excellence, obviously, by setting some big standards. Most of us, we reach those goals and those standards, and then we're stuck there. And that's when we stop growing. That's when we get to this point that we think we're burnt out and, okay, well, I've already done it. And yet your community's suffering because they're not getting the care that they need to in that community. Execution, you got to commit to completion. Sometimes these goals that we set to ourselves, they take time, they take effort. When I took over Sherman College, one of my challenges when I took over was I didn't know the nature of the institution. And it took me 5 years of working with every faculty member, every staff member, every single person on our team, and doing SWOT analysis. Anybody enjoy doing SWOT analysis? With a couple hundred people? I wanted to know what they thought about the school, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities of the institution, and what are the threats from your perspective. Because if I'm going to lead, one thing that I learned is you go to the past to learn so you don't make the same mistakes in the future. And so I did the SWOT analysis with my entire team, and it took me about 4 to 5 years to understand the culture of Sherman College and then start making changes. I didn't go in on January 1 and January 3, we changed everything. It just doesn't happen. So we need to be ensure that we're hustling, that we're doing it with excellence, that we're doing the execution, and that we obviously leave it better than what was given to us. So is your practice better in the community that you practice because you're in it? Or is it worse? Or there's no change whatsoever? And that's something you need to ponder about. And you have to ask the people that are going to be truthful and tell you the truth. You're not going to ask the people that go, oh, Doc, you're great. Oh, Doc, you're wonderful. No, you want to ask the people that are going to tell you the truth. You know what? This is great, but this sucks. This is good, but I don't like these 3 things.
I fly American. You're welcome. Dallas is America's hub. I fly with American. I find out their schedule. I do not tell them to adjust their flights to mine, because I'm on their plan. I'm on their flight plan. I'm on their schedule. So I fly with them. They don't fly with me. But I fly with them because they can take me where I need to go. So I fly with them because they can take me where I need to go. Now, I've been flying American for 40 years. A few years ago, I got a letter in the mail from American. And the letter in the mail said, you are, because of your faithfulness in regularly flying us, are permanently platinum. For the rest of your life, you have a platinum designation. The reason they gave me that designation is I've been walking with them or flying with them for 40 years. And so they gave me a testimony. The testimony of a permanent status as platinum, because I didn't leave them for Delta. I didn't leave them for Spirit Airlines. I didn't leave them for any other airline. I never left them. I stuck with them. And so they gave me a permanent designation. They gave me a testimony because I was consistently with them. A few years ago, I walked up to the gate and I asked them, did they have any first class upgrades? She said there was only one seat left, but they had just given it to the person who was in front of me. But the person who was in front of me, what level were they? I said, oh, well, they were gold. Oh, I pulled out my platinum card. I pulled out my platinum card because, you see, platinum means I have a longer, deeper relationship than gold. She said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that you were platinum. Oh, no, the seat is yours because your relationship is deeper. So you get benefits that go beyond somebody with a lesser relationship. So I'm smelling myself right about now. And I walk over and have my seat, and no, I got to confess, I didn't apologize to the person who was in front of me. I went. But behind me came another guy. And he said, are there any first class seats? I'm an executive platinum. Now, executive platinum means that they have a longer, more intimate relationship than I do. They have walked with American longer than I have. And they walk with it regularly over 100,000 miles a year. So they have a relationship that I do not possess. And so I got bumped. But not to be overruled. Not to be undone. I picked up the telephone and I called my sister who's on the front row right here, who was over special services. See, you shouldn't have said nothing and then you wouldn't have been in the sermon. But this sister right up here was over special services with American Airlines. Do you remember this? I picked up the telephone, I called back to Dallas and said, I just got bumped, I'm at this gate, I got this, can you help me? She said, I'll take care of it, go back to the gate. I went back to the gate, sister had called the gate, put me in a VIP category, which trumps executive platinum. I walked up there, got my first class ticket, and ain't apologized to nobody. You know why? Because I knew somebody who could rule and overrule. What I'm trying to say is if you walk with God, he'll know your status. And he'll use your status to take you where he wants you to be, to give you an experience like never you've had before, but you got to walk with it.
Tony Evans is amazing. If you have never heard him, he's out of Dallas, Texas. He's got an incredible story, and it just amazes me the wisdom that this man brings to the people. And he does it in a way that it's just down to earth, it's funny, but at the same time, it goes right through to the heart, and the message gets there. What I love about what he was talking about is loyalty. And so think about yourself. Where is your loyalty? And depending on where your loyalty is, your status then starts to move in that position, depending how loyal you are to your practice, how loyal you are to your family, how loyal you are to your children, how loyal are you to an organization, how loyal are you to a college or a university. The things that you believe in and the things that you want to support, how loyal are you to that specific thing that you have to be loyal to? And I think that a lot of people are kind of like, well, I want to be loyal, but I want to be loyal to this, but. In this particular case, what saved Tony is that he knew people. But you know something? When you become loyal to something, you get to know people too. I don't know how many times Rob gets this, but I get phone calls. Hey, Dr. Cordero, I'm a supporter. See, they're pulling the VIP status that trumps that executive platinum. And I go, sorry, can't help you. And sometimes I lose the loyalty. They don't believe in the loyalty. But we have to understand how important this loyalty is. One of the things that really just upsets me after 9 years of being in this position and practicing chiropractic for 29 years is the fact that it's always about competition. It's them versus us. It's them versus us. And Rob said 17. There's 20 chiropractic colleges in the United States. Number 20 was Puerto Rico that opened up a school. And the school sucks. They don't teach any principles. They're taking proctology and some other classes that have nothing to do with chiropractic whatsoever. They're charging $150-something thousand for the whole program in tuition, where our tuitions don't even get close to that number. The people that are running the school has less than 10 years experience, and the faculty members, they're graduating from chiropractic colleges within 2 years, they're teaching at the campus. So when you look at the 20 schools, there's really 3 schools that are actually teaching the science, the art, the philosophy. They're teaching the business acumen. They're teaching their students to be the best chiropractic students, doctors that they have an opportunity to be. And it bothers me when people are competing. Well, this school, can you donate to Sherman? Well, I already give to this school. Well, wait a second. Is your money going to the cartels in chiropractic that are not teaching the science, the art, and the philosophy? Are they going to the schools that are actually putting the time and effort into the education of those students for them to become the best version of themselves, to go out there into the public and to take care of the public with all the right reasons for doing that? And I think that this loyalty thing is great, but how much more effective can we be when we're working together to accomplish a common goal for the betterment of this profession? Because you know what? Without life, we're nobody. Without Sherman, we're nobody. If we're not with the other school, we're not anybody either. The other schools have sold their devils. They're sold to the devil. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I have to, because truth is truth. And I'm probably going to get some emails, but I'm here to share truth. So stop sending your students to schools that don't support the science, art, and philosophy of this incredible profession. Geographic location has nothing to do with nothing. Just because the school is closer to your town and you can stay with your uncle or your aunt and save a few bucks, it doesn't matter if you're not getting the education. If you're putting money into education and you're not getting a return on your investment, then you're wasting your time and your money. And then they're graduating, going out there, have no idea how to practice. So I think that the time is coming as we continue to move forward in chiropractic, in our journey, in our walk of chiropractic, that not only do institutions need to work together that are a common goal, but chiropractors need to work together with common goals. And so I hope that this weekend, that something that somebody said from the stage here has kind of touched you in the pit of your stomach. Maybe made you uncomfortable. Maybe got you excited about something that you heard. The future, like Dr. Jules was just saying, the future of this profession it's never been better. The opportunities for chiropractors to go out and make a difference has never been better. The return on the investment is incredible. If you do your thing and follow what you need to do, and then us be able to teach you and other people that come alongside, and it takes a village. to raise a child. But you're worried about your procedures, and you're worried about that patient canceled. I remember the first time I saw 100 patients a day, 99 showed up, and that one person didn't show up. And I was so mad because that one person didn't show up. It was my ego. I served 99 people. I should have been celebrated. I should have been excited about it. But I was pissed off because the one didn't show up to make that 100 visits that day. And so I don't know what's blocking your mind. I don't know what your barriers are. I don't know what is preventing you from being who God has created you to be. But you need to do some soul searching. In the old days, they talked about peeling the onion and getting down to the core of who you are. And you know what? It's uncomfortable to peel these levels of onions because you're going to be looking in the mirror and you may not like what you see in the mirror. Barbara talked about this morning. You may not like what you look and saw in the mirror, but it's all a mindset and you can change that mindset. And no matter if you're in practice 3 years or 30 years, you can still make changes to your practice. You can still do things that are going to help the younger generation. You can support the colleges that are producing the incredible chiropractors. You can go into your community and serve your community at whatever level that may be. But where is your loyalty? Is your loyalty to self? We did a training with our executive team not too long ago, and the gentleman that came to train us at executive level, he was talking about how organizations, when you look at an organization, no matter what it is, there's 3 priorities. Number 1 is the priority of the organization comes first. And then the people of the organization, or whoever you serve. And then lastly, yourself. I've only been in this profession 29 years, and I can tell you that that's not the way that I see it when I talk to chiropractors. It's always self first, and then the people, and then maybe then the organization. So are you doing chiropractic to serve yourself? Because if that's what you're doing, you're off on that pyramid. It's the organization first. What's best for the organization? What's best for your practice? What's best for your community? Then what's best for the people that I serve? So if your people can need to come in at 7 o'clock in the morning because they got to go work and beat traffic, why are you showing up at 9 o'clock in the morning in your office? Because that's telling me that's about you. That's not about the people that you're serving. If you're in a neighborhood, I practice in West Palm Beach, Florida. The ex-president lived about 4 miles from where my practice was. You talk about affluent, Palm Beach County, affluent. I took care of 99.9% of the blue-collar workers that work for these affluent people. And they would come in and they couldn't afford my fees. So I could have said ego, right? And then organization and then people, but I knew that they couldn't afford it. So what did I do? I put a box on the wall. And it was a mailbox. It was a metal mailbox. And I put it in there. And when somebody would come in, I would go, Jennifer, this is what my plans are. They go, oh, we can't afford that. You know, I have 9 kids and I work, 92 hours a day and whatever. And I would go, okay, I tell you what, I'm going to provide the service. Here's the box on the wall. I want you to put whatever you feel that you can afford. But I want to tell you something. The visit is $30. So I set a baseline so they know what it is, the value. And so Jennifer would come in and she had $1.50. And she would put the $1.50 and you hear the clanging noise because I was stupid enough not to put something on the bottom so people wouldn't hear the clanging noise. And they put the $1.50 and everybody in the office is looking because they put change in the box. And then people felt embarrassed and they wouldn't come back. So I put a towel at the bottom of it. And now no matter what they put in, it was no big deal. I would take the money from the box. I would go to my local church that needed, and I would give them whatever it was for that week that was in the box. That was the way I served my community. The way you serve your community may not be that way, and that's perfectly fine. But you got to do what works for you. You got to be on board with a group of like-minded individuals, an organization that's like-minded. You got to serve for the sake of serving because that's what you're supposed to do. This journey is not an easy journey, but it's worth it. We get a chance to change the world with the gift of specific chiropractic adjustments and allowing people to manifest at 100% of their capacity. How cool is that? And you get paid to do it. So I want to share just a quick little video. So every year, Sherman does this little, review of the year. So this is for 2020, and it's just a bunch of craziness, but I want you guys to see how much we have fun. So if you think that you were challenged 2020, try running an institution. Trying to deal with the mask situation. Try to deal with the laws that we can and we can't do. Try to deal with the phone calls of chiropractors calling, what the heck are you guys doing? The students got masks and I can see them in the... And I'm like, okay, so I'm charging the students. You want me not to have them wear masks so they don't get the education that they paid for, so these consequences are gonna be this. Are you crazy? So we do what we needed to do. We adapted, we moved forward, and I'm here to tell you, and I know that Dr. Rob can say without a shadow of doubt, we actually had the best year for Sherman College that we've had in a long, long time. I love this picture because I didn't even know that Dr. Sid's favorite color was yellow. And so I love yellow, so I'm wearing this yellow tie for a lyceum, and I happened to be looking at some old pictures, and I saw the Dr. Sid, and I love the picture, and therefore I took that picture and put it side by side. But if there's anything that I can help you with, if there's anything, that I can share some wisdom, or you can share some wisdom with me, I'm perfectly fine. I call Rob all the time, Rob, and we're on the phone all the time, because you know what? It doesn't matter what level we are, we can always learn from people that have experienced more and that are more, have a little bit more wisdom. So God bless you guys, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Dr. Edwin Cordero.